When did this interest in Africa and orphans, because obviously in the last couple of weeks we've seen it, you all over the news, but I know you've been doing it for quite a few years, so when did the interest start?
I have only been involved with raising Malawi since January. I became interested in Africa when I performed on Live 8, a concert I did, how many summers ago was that? Two years ago, yeah. So I think that was my first real introduction to the realities, to the harsh realities that are going on in Africa. It was because Bob Geldof took me aside and basically harangued me into performing in his show and said, look, he gave me the statistics, and he said, you owe it to the children of the world as a mother to be involved in this project. And that was the beginning of my interest, yeah.
Now, I know you've already talked about how Rocco and Lourdes have adjusted to David, but how has he adjusted to your family?
He's fine. He's happy. He's not complaining.
With your adoption, do you think if it had been any other celebrity adopting, they would have taken such flack? Because you took a lot of negative and criticism for your adoption.
Do I think? I don't know. I can't say that. I just know what my experience was. So.
Were you surprised by the media onslaught?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, surprised. That's an understatement.
Do you think you would have done anything differently? Maybe done it more privately?
I was doing it privately, but when you do an inter-country adoption, then the government knows about it, and once the government knows about it, it's not private anymore. So it was my hope that it would be as private as possible. But the press arrived and they started snooping around, and there was no way I could control that.
How are you going to keep the Malawian influence?
I definitely want Malawi and his culture and his roots and his background to be a part of his life. I want him to learn to speak Chichewa. So I want to keep him connected to his culture and where he comes from.
What was the reception when you went to Malawi? Were most people, did they know who Madonna was?
No, they didn't, and that was wonderful. It was, in fact, it was really nice when I first arrived to not be bothered at all in that way, and to be able to walk around through all the orphanages, and no one had a clue who I was. In fact, no one knew that I was anybody until the photographers showed up. And even then, they didn't know who I was. They just saw there was photographers everywhere, and then people started to say my name, and they didn't even know who they'd never heard of Madonna. And in Chichewa, the word Madonna means distinguished white lady. So I think they got very confused.
Now with the book and your special coming up, are you at the point now where you even worry about how successful it's going to be?
Well, I want things to do well. I would be lying to say that I didn't want whatever I work on, I would put my, time and effort into. I want people to enjoy what I do, and to, I want people to like what I do. That's the whole point of being in the entertainment business. I worked as hard as I could on my TV special, just as an example, and now all I can do is let it go and hope for the best. And that goes for my children's book. You can only worry so much.
Is there a part of you that wants to just stop entertaining and focus just on the kids, just on the family?
No. No, I love my job.